Good afternoon, or good morning, or good evening, wherever you are. This is Lucky Links. It's the beginning of the Western New Year, 2021. People have been asking me about predictions for the new year, and I've been waiting. I haven't felt like the time is right, and I haven't felt like I really got my words together. And I'm going to take a stab at this now. I'm still not sure that I'm ready to say what it is I want to say, but I'm just going to do my best to come from the heart here. Because right now I think that's what needs to happen. Last year at this time, I did a video of questions that people I thought might want to ask themselves as they went into the new year. And some people took it seriously, and some people were like, whatever, I want to go to the fancy angel card reading and see what that has to say. And around April, people were writing me going, holy crap, the questions that you asked at the beginning of the year were really important, and they were really about what we were going to face. I think there have been way too many pat answers given to people in this whole quote unquote spiritual community. And it is why I so passionately wanted to seek out a path that actually could help to make a difference in people's lives in real practical ways where they could actually see transformations. I wrote some thoughts down here that I'm going to express because I think it's important to express them. So please bear with me. And then at the end of this, I have some questions that I think people should ask themselves as they move into this year. And I really hope that people take these seriously, and I hope that they actually can help people make some changes, transformation, and gives people some power. The reason I've been hesitating doing this is because the last full moon, I saw some things that really saddened me deeply. I didn't even really want to respond to any of it. I just kind of went inside. I worked with clients during that time, and I didn't really want to say anything about the change of the year after what I was seeing and after what I've been seeing this year. But I'm going to do the best I can to express myself, because I think there's some reasons why I should say something. During the last full moon, I saw a lot of advice being given out about the full moon. And it's the same kind of advice that I've seen for years, for 20 years in this New Age community, or this quote unquote spiritual community, or this magical community, or this pagan community, or this alternative spirituality community, consciousness community, whatever you want to call it. People were saying things like, it's a Cancer full moon. It's time to release trauma and what no longer serves you. Let go of all karma. Dance under the full moon. Be free and express your divinity. That is the sort of advice that I keep seeing being given out to people. This last year left people traumatized. It left them without businesses. It left them without homes. It left people struggling to educate their children, worried about the fate of their children. It left people sick and terrified. People were hungry and beat up. People were lied to and targeted. They found nightmare relationships happening in their families and friends. And they're going into this new year wondering what the hell happened to the world they knew. And the advice being given to them by the quote unquote spiritual people was, dance under the full moon and release your divinity. And I know that people are saying, well, we have to maintain hope, but there's a problem with that. In order for people to have hope, they have to have fear. That's the thing that people don't get. Hope is something that arises because you're already in a stressful and fearful state. And the whole reason that I have a problem with a lot of that kind of advice, and I saw that when I started down this path, is that people are basically saying, do nothing, be afraid, and pray, and go dance, and have a drink. And I saw that in my parents' religion, and I saw where that led people. And personally, I didn't want to end up in that place. So I think now it's time that we start to ask ourselves why there is so little compassion that is being shown for people who are losing everything. It's kind of astonishing how little compassion there is for the people who are struggling and losing. I'm talking about compassion, which should develop from a spiritual practice. Compassion. It is time that we start to ask ourselves, all of us who did okay in this last year, how would we feel if we lost everything and people told us that it was okay because it was for the good of all? Would we be willing to live without electricity or water or bed or food because it's for the good of all? How would we feel if we were losing everything and someone told us to dance under the full moon and release our divinity? If we claim that we're a spiritual community, we need to have more substance than dance under the full moon and embody the divine feminine or masculine. That doesn't really provide much comfort to someone who can't eat. And in many ways, I think it is an insanely arrogant thing to say to someone. That's the part that I was struggling with saying. But I think that it's really important that as the last year ended, and that's the attitude that people are taking, oh, go along with it and just dance under the full moon as people are suffering. I think that people need something more practical and more sensible than that. Spirituality does not mean get high and lose yourself or your physical body. You have a physical body and physical things that you need to deal with and accomplish that are here. And they are in your life for a reason. And you need to be able to accomplish those things and work through those things and be successful at those things and get your needs met so that you can actualize. If you can't eat, if you can't take care of your health, you can't actualize. And I'm working on a book now on manifesting, and I'm going to tell you the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. There's a section in there where I talk about this. If you can't get your basic needs met, you're not going to be dancing under a full moon, attaining enlightenment. It's not going to happen. So I think it's time that we start to ask ourselves and hold people to task for what advice they're giving people. I have had clients recently who are going to psychic after psychic after psychic that are telling them the same things are going to happen in their life. So this is going to happen in your life. It's going to come true. It's going to come true. And it doesn't come true. I mean, they're hoping for some like horrible desire, some itch that's driving them around to come true. And the psychics are telling them, oh yeah, it's going to come true. You just go for it. It's destined. It's your soulmate. It's your twin flame. It's whatever. And this person is left, struggling. And then they're exhausted. And it's painful for them to keep being told these things that are not happening. At what point do we start to show compassion in this quote unquote spiritual community? Divination is a tool. That's it. It should be used to help people. And if it can't actually provide people with something that's practical, then there's no use for it. If you're just putting people in a state of fear and hope, you're running them back and forth. And some of you may have tarot spreads or divination spreads where one of the slots is hopes and fears. That means they're being tossed back and forth between the horns of an ox, which is funny because that's what 2021 is going to be, the ox. Are you going to be tossed back and forth between hope and fear the whole time? Or are you going to find a practical way to be like an ox and come in practical, steady, constant, disciplined action towards a goal? These are questions that I have for this year. And I really hope people consider these. What if there was a cure for this thing that everyone's freaking out about that was extremely simple, but no one was telling you about it? My question is, would your current beliefs allow you to be able to get it? Or would you not resonate to it because of your pride and your fear and your stubbornness? At what point do we stop giving away our authority to other people? At what point do we feel it's okay to face conflict and stand up for ourselves? And I mean that on quite a few levels in our lives. How willing are we to defend our children? Or children in general? What do we think, or what do you think, this is a question I'm going to ask, that your role is in leaving something for kids or to give them a successful world? Do you think that you have a role in that? That it's your duty as an individual to leave a world where the next generation of kids have something that helps them to succeed? Or are you only concerned with your life right now? Do you believe that because you've suffered, that other people should suffer? If so, my other question is, how is that working in your life? What would you do if your work and what you considered your job or your legacy, whatever, what would you do if that changed and you could no longer do it? What would you do instead? What would you do if your home life was no longer stable? How would you define your home, and what would you do to make a new one? And what would you do to make a community with other people, or would you? Do you believe that people who believe differently from you are wrong or evil? What could you do this year to see the similarities between you and others? And what can we all do to come from a place of substance instead of the same old empty platitudes or cliches? How do we provide practical solutions for people instead of telling people to shut up and accept tragedy for the good of all? Now, I was going to put up some advice from the gods, but I may do that in another video. I just think this is kind of what I wanted to say and the best way that I could say it. My apologies if it's clumsy. I'm doing the best I can. I'm seeing a lot. I'm working with people. I'm seeing their potential. I'm seeing what they could be. I'm seeing the life that they were born to live and where they are now. And I'm seeing a lot of people work really hard to get those together. And that's been insanely inspiring. And interesting enough, those people who are doing that are finding that obstacles are falling away in their life. I'm seeing other people that are letting fear and letting their habits and letting their wants and confusion get a hold of them, and I'm seeing them have a really hard time. It's a lot to watch. It's a lot to see. And there comes a point in this where you really realize you really do want to see people succeed, or you don't. And I really want to see people succeed, because if we all start to succeed, some amazing things could really happen. I think it's time to ask ourselves this year, what is really standing in the way of success? And am I willing to root that out? And am I willing to face that? That's what I got going into 2021 for you guys. There's going to be a lot of change this year. I will say that. If you want to know how this stuff is affecting you personally, we can look at that in your astrology. I have to do your calculations for your birth chart. I'm working on a book on manifesting that will be coming out this year in 2021. I'm going to say some things now that I need to say in terms of what I'm offering. Those of you who wanted to take my classes on divination and who did not want to take them on Facebook because I had people in a private Facebook group, I now have another way of getting those classes to you. I have another medium that they're on. It does not require anything relating to Facebook. And I completely understand why people don't want to be on Facebook. I totally understand that. And I am moving my stuff off of Facebook onto another platform. It is not the one that people have been saying it is. It's actually Social Phoenix. If you would like to stay in contact with me in case something happens to the other social media with everything crazy going on, I'll put the link to my stuff in the thing below, and then you can log on for a free membership. And then I have classes. You can do classes. I have my classes listed there. If you want to do your basic astrology chart, we can do your basic astrology chart. If you want to do your full cosmology, that's huge and takes a huge commitment. We can do that. If you want to just get an hour reading with me or a half hour reading with me with cards and oracles and stuff like that, we can still do that. I can do a new reading that I have where I actually can help you work out what's standing in the way of your manifesting. I have memberships we can do where we can work towards a goal during a specific period of time, which you and I can discuss, what your goals are. There's all sorts of things that I have at my disposal that I can use to help you guys. There are practical solutions. You don't have to go with the same old platitudes and stay in a place of fear or worry and just hope that things work out for the best. You can take control of your life, especially as we go into the year of the ox here. Dedicated action, progress, work on yourself can yield results if you really want it to. That's it. I think that's all I got to say. I really wish you all great healing and great prosperity in the new year. It is still the year of the rat. The metal rat goes through February, at which time it is Tibetan New Year, Losar, and then we change to the year of the ox. So if you haven't felt a change yet, it's because we are still in the year of the rat. Things will change, but it is a metal year. It is a metal year still. If metal is not your element, then it's probably not good news for you, but still, we can talk about that if you want. If you have any questions, please put them in the thing below. Like I said, I'm going to put my new web stuff down in the thing below. You can subscribe to my daily posts and stuff there. I'm probably going to start putting my videos there. I'm probably going to do memberships now too, where monthly membership, and I'll show you guys how to do things with cards and stuff like that. And I'm going to be doing that soon within the next couple of months here. So there's lots of ways to get a hold of me if you want to, and stay connected if things get weird. I'm Lucky Links, as always, wishing you success and good fortune in all that you do.